Let's kick off with you, Katherine. How much do people know about how much wearable devices and technology in general can make a difference to children around the world in emerging economies?
Well, I think it's possibly our best kept secret, actually, at UNICEF. We have been working for nearly 10 years now in taking sort of technology into developing countries. And I think some of the things that we were perhaps dreaming about 10 years ago around how you might be able to use real-time data, we're actually seeing coming to sort of fruition now. So you wouldn't have been able to imagine that in Nigeria today, all of the births are registered via SMS, or that in Rwanda, by giving mobile sort of healthcare workers mobile phones, you're able to now, at the touch of a button, say how many pregnant women there are, which children have been vaccinated, who needs to have an operation for cleft lip. That information is there at the touch of a button now. I think the sort of Department of Health in this country would love to have that kind of data available.
But you want to push that even further.
Indeed.
And you've struck a partnership with chip designer ARM, of course, that is based here in the UK. Tell us about what you've just said, because you've got a partnership, but in the shorter term, there's a challenge isn't there? That 6 months, come up with a cost-effective device, we will help you grow this if it meets our criteria.
If you look at the way ARM and UNICEF work together, we've been working together for the last 2 or 3 years on various projects and opportunities around the world, and we said, how do we formalise this into something that's fairly creative and unique? So it's not an intuitive marriage, but we sat down and went, we have a big ecosystem, UNICEF have reach and labs, how do we then use both of these to get together to open opportunities around the world to some fairly unique entrepreneurs?
Ian, what does that mean concretely? Like, what exactly, what kind of support are you giving to UNICEF?
We're doing 3 different things. Firstly, we're putting money, several £million into this. Secondly, we're providing resources around the world to go help UNICEF labs. Thirdly, we have this challenge which enables ARM's engineers along with UNICEF's engineers to concretely build 2 or 3 different projects from this challenge, with mentoring, with scope for adding engineering and resources in, really to start growing new opportunities around the world. So 3 different things.
And this is focused at maternal health, at child health. Katherine, what are you hoping for? What excitement have you already drummed up? Because this is a couple of weeks old, this challenge so far.
Yeah, so I suppose we're really posing the question of, could wearable tech be the next sort of mobile revolution? The challenge itself, you can find a lot more information on the website wearablesforgood.com. As you say, it launched a few weeks ago, and we're looking for entries from all around the world. We have until the 4th of August to enter, and there are a number of sort of use cases and sort of things that are put onto that website. And the kind of questions that we're asking are, what if we could find a wearable device that would support a woman in rural Africa who doesn't have access to healthcare? What if we could be monitoring her pregnancy and fetus during that time? There are 1,000 women die around the world every day in childbirth or pregnancy-related causes. What if we could put a sort of wearable device into a slum in, say, Nairobi? And what if that device...
And this, Katherine, would be for the mothers, not the midwives?
We're taking a very broad sort of definition of wearable, so I think it could be for the mothers, it could be around a sensing device. A wearable is a device that can track information, it can sense, it can be a two-way communication device, it can track data. So we're really posing a very broad question around how that could be used.
And Ian, how cheap could this become, basically? Because at the moment we are looking at Fitbits, and they're pretty costly devices. These sorts of wearables can cost an awful lot in the developed world, but in the developing world, how can you keep a price point so low when it comes to a wearable device which can provide such data?
We've seen wearable bands that track your movement for as low as $12 now on the market. I suspect these will be $1 devices that will grow in volume. And if you really want to go target these markets, you need some innovative products, not just in price, but in what they actually do as well. So it can't be hundreds of dollars, it needs to be singles dollars, and it needs to be targeted uniquely where they are.
This is for the device, as cheap as $12, but you need an infrastructure, right? When you have these devices, I need to plug it into an internet or some kind of, is it drones? How do you build that infrastructure? Because that seems to me crucial.
Yeah, and that's really what UNICEF is bringing to the table, I suppose. If you look at ARM's ecosystem of the sort of tech the tech community around the world, and UNICEF has an ecosystem on the ground of delivery partners. We have experience of working with the ministries of health and with all the local delivery partners, of building sort of, the SMS infrastructure that we've got around at the moment. We've got, national scale in some of those pieces of technology.
And national support? Are the governments going, yes, please come in, we need this help, or are they even aware that they need to perhaps contribute to this infrastructure?
Yes, if you look at the example in Uganda, we started with sort of mobile healthcare devices. That is now sort of tracking vaccinations, and, in clinics in Uganda, that is now owned by the Ministry of Health in Uganda. Similarly, we started a pilot in education that's being taken over by the Ministry of Education. So it's really, you can't do these things on your own, and that's where sort of UNICEF brings us sort of a unique convening power, I suppose, with those different parties.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Ian Drew, Chief Marketing Officer and Executive Vice President for Business Development at Arm Holdings, and Katherine Crisp, Head of Strategy and Innovation at UNICEF UK, and of course Caroline Hyde.